question. Yeah. And then, well, finally I got a lot of blood. My body got weak, my soul, doesn't have place to go. But still, I had a bigger question. And question seems like ripening continuously. And at the time, I could always see the very clear moon, like in the very mild, bitter, cold winter sky. Yeah. And the question was bigger than whole universe. And it included from the dust to the everything. Yeah. It was very lonely travel to my center. Lonely, very lonely trip. Yeah. And then one day when I saw the shaking grass at the outside of Zendo, it was early in the morning. Early in the morning, as you know, not much wind, but very small wind, softly. The grass was shaken. Yeah. At the time, the question that I brought to my inside turned inside out with this whole universe. And naturally, I swallowed this whole universe from my center.
What was the question?
The question was at the time, where is the thought of life and death is coming from?
Where does the thought of life and death come from?
Yeah.
It's amazing how in Zen practice, some experience can boil down into a very poignant poetic image. Now, we're almost ready to end our conversation here, but I'd like to turn to your students again and ask, Chuck, how has Zen impacted you in daily life?
Well, Zen teaches us to quiet our minds, which allows us to drop our egos, which are illusions, and it allows us to quiet the emotional storms which we inflict on ourselves. Teaches us how to silence the mind chatter. And when you're not living in a world of self-induced chaos, there's a lot less stress. You can focus clearly on what really needs to be done. You can focus on right action, and you can focus on how you should really be relating to other people. And your relations then become warmer, more loving, and more generous.
And Louis, how do you apply your practice of Zen to family life?
Well, I'm very fortunate with a loving family and people who have different religious interests, but people have my mom and my sister and brother-in-law and some other members of my family have met Sunim and that sort of thing. So just on a personal note, I have some integration of family and practice and that sort of thing, because one of the things that's really cool about Zen is there is no belief system. You can be who you are and practice Zen. It doesn't matter what your religious interests are at all, because it just keeps asking, where are things coming, where are things going, is coming and going same and different. And that just naturally, no matter who you worship with or how you worship, it naturally brings you into your center and into deeper integration with the truth.
Wonderful. Now, Master Sunim, do you think Zen has any application to global problems like terrorism or destruction of the environment? Is there anything that you could say to help us understand the contribution Zen could make?
Of course. Through the human history, everything was upgraded, kind of cultures, religions, politics, social affairs, but somehow we think of ourselves, we lost the point that what did all sages wanted to tell us? Yeah. That point is the freedom from the life and death. If we don't have that point, whatever we are creating so many affairs, still it is like a delusive, dualistic situation, delusive affairs. So I can strongly ask people, whatever we do, we should focus on their point first. Then everybody is saying that Allah is in us, Buddha is in us, God is in us. Yeah, but if we really know that, we should respect each other. Right. Yeah. That is the way to save all beings from the suffering and to save this small planet from the critical situations.
Right. Now, why did you come to America to teach Zen?
Well, I can say like that. Someone is still sitting on the top of the mountain.
Someone is still sitting on the top of the mountain. Can you please clarify that a little bit?
3 times 3 is 10.
3 times 3 is 10. That's much clearer now. You have given a real Zen answer. So, you've answered so many questions in a very traditional style. There was a Japanese master named Hakuin who compiled 1,700 of these kinds of questions in 17th century. And some of them you may have heard, of course, you may teach, like, what is the sound of one hand clapping? What did your face look like before your mother was born? And things like that. And I just think, could Hakuin have ever imagined that so many years later, such a faraway place as America, there would be students thinking about words like 3 times 3 equals 10. So I thank you very much for all your wonderful Zen Dharma teachings today.
Thank you.
And thanks to Mr. Chuck Mills and Mr. Louis Dabney for their great insight on how Zen is practiced in America. And that ends our program today in Zen Dharma Exchange. And I hope that everyone has enjoyed this session as much as I have. And thank you for tuning in.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.